Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. Alright, hello, welcome back. Today I am super excited because not only do I have, are you ready? Not only do I have Kindle Unlimited recommendations for you, but I also have a Kindle Unlimited Readathon announcement for you. I'm very excited about this. This was sort of the brainchild of the minutes after a recent reading sprint, the group therapy reading sprints. I think it was on Cheyenne's channel between the people who were on there. And we talked about, you know, what would be a fun way to get more community engagement or to like really feel like we're bringing people together? It's a readathon. So that's what we're doing. That is what we're doing, and I am very, very excited. Special shout out to Tiffany from Tiff Talks Pages. I will have her and all the other hosts linked down below, but she is the one who created this beautiful art and prompts. We're going to have a bingo board. It's going to be great. So thank you so much, Tiffany, for doing all of the hard work to make that, because it's beautiful and I didn't have to do it. So thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start talking about the readathon, just the basics of it. So if you've never participated in a readathon before, it's basically just read a bunch of books with a group of people. We have reading sprints, we talk about them. A lot of people vlog. I will probably be vlogging, but I just think they're so fun. They're such great community building activities. I just love them. I think they're a ton of fun. Okay, so the dates for the readathon is January 26th through the 29th. And we will be having reading sprints throughout on different people's channels. One of them that I know for sure is happening is January 28th at 12 p.m. PST, and that one will be on Tiff's channel. I will be hosting the live show on my channel, the ending live show. That will be January 29th at 5 p.m. MST. So that's where we're going to just come and hang out, talk about what we read, what we thought, how it went, and it's just going to be a good time. So I love those end of readathon live shows. They're super fun. So the hosts are myself, Cheyenne from That Tall Book Girl, Sam from Sam Reads a Little, Melissa from Book Bar, Jess from Honest Fiction, and Tiffany from Neverland Pixie. So I'm very, very excited. All of these good friends are going to be hosting it with me, and it's going to be so fun, and I hope you participate with us. So, okay, that's all of, oh wait, I have one more thing. So I'm going to list all of the prompts. I will say that all of these prompts and graphics will be on my Instagram and probably every other host's Instagram as well. I'll put them in a highlight, so you're welcome to come and screenshot and save them and everything like that. So I'm just going to run through the prompts really, really quickly. I feel like for most of these prompts are so like vast that you could fit just about any book in here. So in order of what Tiffany has them: new to you author, favorite genre or trope, a series you've been putting off, a debut author, give an author a second chance, that's one of my favorite things to do, a book you didn't get to last year, LGBTQ, own voices, wrecked by a friend, ends in a cliffhanger, in your library the longest, over 400 pages, a tome over 400 pages, a novella under 250 pages, a tortured hero, a tattooed hero. So we wanted to, one of my goals this year is to utilize Kindle Unlimited more. And I specifically want to be using it as a way to find new to me authors, not just constantly relying on the books I hear talked about all the time. All right, that is all the basics for the readathon. My hair is driving me bananas. Okay, so now on to the recommendations. So I went through my Goodreads and I tried to find 5 prompts for some of my favorite subgenres, or I didn't go by trope, I went by subgenre because that's my preferred way to read. But I know a lot of the other hosts will definitely have tropes and things like that, and obviously they all have tropes, but I split them up into subgenre, and then I also have series recommendations. So some of my picks on here are probably old favorites that would work well for like a book you've been putting off or in your library the longest, and some of them are new, some of them are, I tried to find ones that weren't constantly talked about, so maybe this will refresh your memory if you've heard of these or something. So, alright, contemporary recommendations. One of my favorites that is still on Kindle Unlimited is A Nordic King by Karina Halley. I read this book years ago, I believe off a recommendation from Riley Marie, and I just love this so much. This is a nanny. I think there's a little bit of an age gap. He is obviously a Nordic prince, king. It's in Norway. Anyway, it's a good time. Nanny romance. Very, very fun. I think this one is such a classic Karina Halley, and I just really, really love it. Another contemporary favorite of mine is Torn by Carrie Ann Cole. This is an age gap with a big age gap, and this is one of the few age gaps that works really well for me, and it's very specifically because the hero is so chivalrous and just wants to take care of her, love her, but he is not at all overly sexual or gross about her young body. And like, please, thank you, that is the only type of age gap that works for me when you have a young heroine, and she is quite young in here. I don't want to read about how attracted he is to her young baby body. That absolutely disgusts me. So anyway, had to put that in here one more time. Another recommendation for contemporary that is a favorite of mine is Run, Posey, Run. This is also a fairly short book. I don't believe it's under 250 pages, but this would work for Mafia romance. Probably, I don't actually know if he has tattoos. It would work for Tortured Hero too. Okay, so now this one is a classic. So this and a lot of Kennedy Ryan's books are on Kindle Unlimited, not all of them, and I think that some of them may be coming off at some point. But the Flow, the novella, and the Grip trilogy is on there. So Flow would count for a novella. That's the first one. You do need to read that before you read Grip and Still. And if you've been putting off this series, here's your chance to read it. Another favorite of mine is Ivan by Sophie Lark. I picked Ivan because I think that if you are new to Sophie Lark, that is the perfect place to start. It's an excellent mafia romance. We have a female assassin sent to kill this mafia boss, and oh wait, they fall in love. Like, it's so freaking good. You just have to read it. It's so good. It's also pretty short. And I think still, even though this is in her Underworld series, which comes before her Brutal Birthright series, also all of Sophie's books are on Kindle Unlimited. I just picked Ivan because I think it's a really good starting point, and if you haven't started the series or read this one, you should. It's so freaking good. I love it so much. Okay, now onto historical. So historicals are kind of harder to find on Kindle Unlimited, at least ones that I have read. There are a lot of indie authors that are on there for Kindle Unlimited, so this would be a good opportunity to try them. But I'm going to give you recommendations of books that I have read and enjoyed and would recommend. So the first one is Magnate by Joanna Shupe. This, as far as I know, is the only Joanna Shupe full book. She does have novellas. Some of them are historical novellas. They're her more erotic works. Magnate is the first book in her Knickerbocker series, and this is the one that has a really excellent steamy snowed-in scene. So freaking good. This has a alpha hole hero, but he is one of the few that actually really worked for me. I really, really loved this romance, and while this isn't a favorite Joanna Shupe book of mine, I still enjoyed it, and if you want to start one of her older series, now is a good time to do it. Another historical romance is An Extraordinary Union by Alyssa Cole. This one is fantastic. I read this several years ago for, I think it was the featured book for the historical romance readathon in 2020. It's set in the Civil War times. We have a black heroine and a white hero, and it's absolutely beautiful. I love this book so, so much. Okay, another book is The School Mistress. So this is an author that is very, very popular. She is, I believe she's indie. I think she's indie. She's on Kindle Unlimited. Quite a lot of her books are. I read The Spinster in December, and I liked it, although I was a little disappointed, but I still really love her writing. And this is a book about a school mistress who comes to the town, this small town in America. It's set in America. And she ends up falling in love with the dad and all of his kids, so it's really, really good. Okay, so now this one is a little bit of a different historical. It's The Virgin Who Ruined Lord Grey. So this has a pretty big mystery plot, but I also really liked the romance, and I felt like it kind of went toe-to-toe with the mystery plot in this. And the cool thing about this is the heroine is not only a historical romance heroine, but she's also like kind of a bad A spy, and it's just really, really fun. I liked it a lot. I think they have really good chemistry in that one. And then the last historical recommendation that I have is A Beastly Kind of Earl by Mia Vinci. This is like a Beauty and the Beast type historical retelling. Great chemistry, really good banter. I really like this author. I enjoyed this book a ton. Okay, so now for fantasy, I have The Midwinter Mail Order Bride. So this is a very short novella. It's a barbarian type of romance, but it's not like a hardcore brutal one. This is pretty light. They have really good banter. They have a great relationship. The heroine is very strong, and I just thought this was a ton of fun. This would be a short one. If you've been wanting to try this book or this author's books, I would definitely recommend this one. Okay, so now this is one of my favorite books of all time. I love this book so much. This is also a short book. I believe I think it is a novella. It is a novella, but it's a longer, I don't actually know. I'm not going to say it's long or not. It's a novella. It's for sure a novella. It's called Briarly. This is one of the most beautiful Beauty and the Beast retellings I've ever read, and it's an romance. It is absolutely stunning. There is no steam in this, but it is such a beautifully built romance, and I love the spin that this had. I believe this is set in like World War II, and I loved just the complexity of the characters, the slowly building relationship. This was just like one of those books that is deeply human, and I want every single person to read this book. I love it so much. It's a short read, absolutely beautifully written, so emotional, moved me to tears. Okay, so now this specific book I actually haven't read, but this is the only book by this author that it was one that I found that I had not read that's on Kindle Limited. I have read several of her other books, and I've enjoyed all of them. And this book is Kiss of Steel by Beck McMaster. She's a fantastic fantasy author. She does romance really well in her fantasies. I really enjoy her books. And this one is like a steampunk series. I haven't read it. I've heard great things. I have read the spin-off series from this, but I haven't read this one. I don't know why I do that. I just do that. And I've also read her Fae fantasy romance series, which I also really loved. Okay, another fantasy is The Sinner by Emma Scott. This one is really good. This is about like a fallen angel who comes to Earth like every time his lover is reincarnated because they were soulmates who were then ripped apart, and it's beautiful. It doesn't hit quite as hard emotionally as some of Emma Scott's books do, but I still really enjoyed it, and I thought it was worth the read for sure. Okay, now this one is a favorite of mine. I love this book so much. It is quite long, but this author blows me away, and it is Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. I absolutely love this book. This is a rich fantasy world that is very slowly developed. It has excellent character growth and development, and the relationship in here, the romance, is very slow burn, but it's so satisfying. I just love the beautiful style this is written in. I love the characters. I love the reveals at the end. I thought this was a masterpiece, honestly. I really loved it. Okay, now for series, I have some series recommendations. So you could pick the first book in any of these. All of these series are on Kindle Limited in their entirety. So I'm just going to mention the series. The first one is The Cityscape Affair. Love triangle, high drama, lots of angst, fun time. The Stay a Spell series by Juliet Cross, probably my favorite paranormal romance series of all time, has cozy vibes, but also has excellent chemistry and swoon and steam and great background plots too. I love Juliet Cross's writing style. I think she's fantastic, and this series is so fun, and if you haven't started it, now is a great time to do so. Okay, the Married to Magic series by Elise Kova. Elise Kova is a really beautiful writer. She doesn't give you a lot of romance in these books. This one is a series, some of them are YA, some of them are adult, but the first one in here is really beautifully written, and don't compare this to ACOTAR or anything. These are just like fairy tales where there is some type of marriage arrangement between a human and a magical being, and they're just beautiful. I think they're fun, enchanting. They're not the steamiest thing you're ever going to read, but they're a really good time. And if you like fantasy that has sort of an old world fairy tale feel, I think you will really like these. So I picked The Edens by Devney Perry. I know several other of her series are on KU, specifically the Clifton Forge series, which actually is my personal favorite, but I feel like that one is talked about a lot, and The Edens is the series that she is currently writing. The next book comes out really soon in this series, so you could pick this book. It's contemporary small town romance. The first book gives strong Yellowstone vibes. If you're a fan of that show, I think you would really like it. These also have a bit of a mystery in them. They have different tropes in each of the books, and they're just really fun. Okay, so now this one is an oldie but a goodie, and the whole series is on Kindle Unlimited, so if you haven't read it, you have to, and it's the Element series by Brittany Cherry. I read this series years ago, and I just became obsessed with it and read every single one back to back, which is unusual for me. I typically am not the type of person to binge a series unless I am like deeply invested, and I really was. This is also like, it's a series, but they are very much standalones. They don't even have like crossover into each book. They're just connected by the theme of the titles, basically. So I say this is a series, but it's not like you're following a family or a couple. They're standalones, but they're grouped together as a series because of the titles and some of the themes in them. Okay, this is one of my favorite series. It's the Mafia Wars series by Maggie Cole. This would fit Tortured Hero, Tattooed Hero, Mafia. This is just such a fun series. I absolutely love the way Maggie writes her heroes to be completely obsessed, head over heels, will do anything for the women. I love them so much. She's a great writer. I always find myself really swept away in her stories and just love and adore them to pieces. Okay, so now this is a series that is very near and dear to my heart, and it is the Hoop series by Kennedy Ryan. This is a deeply emotional series of romances that are interconnected, as in some of the characters show up in all of the books, and some of our side characters in the earlier books that have their own romances later on. And it's just absolutely beautiful. A bit devastating. This series deals with some pretty hard-hitting content like domestic violence, intimate partner violence, divorce, things like that. And there's also, the second book has cheating in it too. But I love this series. I will always love this series. I think it's beautiful, and the whole thing's on KU, so take advantage of that because I have a feeling they may be coming off pretty soon. So, alright, there you have it. That is my recommendations for some Kindle Unlimited romances that maybe you want to give a try out. I want to give a special shout out. I really hope some of you pick up Briarly. It's so beautiful, and I kind of actually want to reread it. So anyway, shout out for all of those books. They're all some of my favorites, and yeah, I hope you join us for the readathon. Let me know if you want to participate with us, and I'll see y'all in my next video.